Hi, it's me again with Corel Tips and Tricks, and this is part 5 of drawing these lace type deal. And I just did a video number 4 on drawing this circle that I'm really pretty proud of how it came out. But you could do the same thing, and this one's not perfect because I've got them, this one's kind of going backwards. But it's the same principle as a circle except for it's a square. And this is the original one I started with. So we're just going to delete these and delete that one. And what you're going to want to do is, the original ones were at an angle, and you just want to kind of get it perpendicular. And the way I did that was just kind of look at either one side or the other, and I must have looked at the other side. You see it kind of perpendicular up and down. And then this thing is roughly 5 inches long. So we're going to make our nudge factor 5 inches. I always call it nudge factor, it's a nudge distance. And then we're going to take our item and go Control D and duplicate it. Well, that's too much. It's 5 inches plus, but it's counting from that point. So let's make it 4.5. Control D and make a duplicate. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did on the vertical. We're going to take this, and you could very easily cut these lines, but I really find it's a lot faster, and I don't know why I'm using pink or purple. And that's what happens when you use the Smart Fill tool and you don't touch anything. Then we're going to left click and right click, back our outline. Now our nudge factor is still set on the same, so we're going to Control D, and look at that, it fits in there perfectly. We're going to put 5 on each side. Now I'm going to Control G to group that together. I'm going to Control D to duplicate it. I'm going to rotate it 270 degrees because I actually want it. I want all the circles this time going on the outside. And there's probably maybe a better way to do this, but just, nudging it up there, and that you can see that's not perfect. But we could, unless it's a framework for a picture, we could do the exact same thing with the Smart Fill tool. And so then we can take this one, Control D or plus key on your keyboard, start nudging out of the way, and the nudge actually works. But we need to rotate it the other way, and it probably, well, it does work. But that kind of looks funny at the top. So let's try this and rotate a mirror the other way. And then auto pinch, so now we got downward slopes and outward slopes. We'll call it that good, and we're going to plus key on the keyboard. And one of these we're going to have to, that's the problem. One of these we're going to have to turn around, so we're going to flip it the other way. And actually going to have to flip. We can't have 2 open ends, so we're going to flip that out of the way. I knew something was too easy. And then just take this and have it, move up to about there. Unless it's got to be a perfectly symmetrical square, I think this might work, probably just by placing them. But see, we need a little bit more. So I'm going to change my nudge distance to 0.1, and I'm just going to move this out of the way so I've got a little bit of an overhang. And I think we're good. And then to finish it off, I would go ahead and take the Smart Fill tool, and you know what? Let's try welding this. Let's see what happens. Well, that didn't work. Too many nodes, too many variables. But on this particular one, instead of Smart Filling, since we're just using it for a frame, you could delete these excess lines and just kind of zoom in and get those ones that are kind of sticking past that we didn't do. Go to the other end, do the same thing. And like I said, you could use this. Well, you really, in this case, you couldn't use a Smart Fill tool because of the fact that we need to do both sides. But this is a pretty cool design, relatively pretty easy. Just I'm a little bit off right there, but for the video, I'm just going to leave it. Got a little crack there. Should have moved, well, it is going to matter. Tell you what, let's just grab it, just move it up a hair. There we go. And like I said, unless you have to have it symmetrically 100% square, I think this will work. And there's probably a way around that. I just haven't, not thinking about it right now. Anyway, pretty cool design. Then you can always check, make sure it doesn't have a leak. And this way kind of tells you, you know, we've got inward circles everywhere but the top. So we would need to flip this one 100%. We could probably still do that. Let's just do it real quick. Let's flip it up and down. So we still want those circles. And let's see if our, wow, even our circle must be 100% perfect. Now we're a little bit short on that one, but just take the shape tool. Of course, you'd have to break it apart. And I'm taking too long for the video, but go to Object, Group, and ungroup it. So you can grab that with the shape tool and just go right there. You know, unless you're gonna smart fill it, probably wouldn't matter anyway. And we're good to go. And now when you smart fill the inside, you'll be able to see that it's symmetrical. And pretty cool design. And you could do a lot with this. You know, not only that design, but you could, you know, Control G and group this together. Control D and duplicate it. Holding down the Shift key, you could bring it in. And then at this time, you could even, you know, mirror it the other way, still bring it in a little bit more. Then you could Control D again, Control D, and just keep going with that pattern. And then if you smart fill it, it would really have a weird design with the colors. So I've got those two close together for it to work. But pretty neat little project. I hope I'll help this gentleman. Anyway, I hope that helped. Thank you for watching.